Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Engine Emotions. These are my bikes, Meteor 350 and KTM Adventure 390X with the cruise control. So today we are gonna discuss what brake pads are recommended or suggested to you to go for rides, or maybe for normal city rides, going to the office. So what is the recommended brake pads that you should have, and within the budget as well. So here I already have a Vesrah, but before going into this thing, let's just discuss what are the different types of brake pads we have. So there are three types of brake pads. Alright, the first one is the organic brake pads. So both of my rear wheel in both of the bikes, this has an organic brake pads, as well as this has an organic brake pads. The organic brake pads are very cheap, so they will cost nearly less than 500 rupees, and they are made up of powder. Okay, so organic means using organic materials. They are made with organic powder. So what happens when you start braking, the powder will accumulate on the disc plate. So see, this is the powder, and if I rub it out, yeah, see, so this is the powder that I'm getting on the rear brake pads. It's a black color powder, and also the organic brake pad looks blackish, and that's okay. So this is the most cheapest form of brake pads that are available for disc plate mechanism. The another is ceramic brake pads. So these are ceramic brake pads, and this is a very nice brand, Vesrah. So, and what these are meant to do, they have much better initial brake bites. So if you want a very sharp handling, you can get that thing with Vesrah or ceramic brake pads. But I recommend this brand Vesrah for initial bites, because I've been using this thing for past 4.5 years on my R15. I sold my R15, got the 390X, and I'll still be preferring Vesrah. Another thing, the third thing, so there is organic, there is ceramic, and there is the top level, that is sintered. So this Meteor 350 has EBC brake pads, and these are one of the best, almost world class brake pads that you can go with. There are more, but this is a very nice brake pad. I can't even show you, but it's kind of rose gold, I would say, rose gold or a little bit gold color on the brake pads. And as I can see, there is dust, but it's very less compared to the organic. So I'll just speak out all the prices. The Vesrah cost me nearly about 1500, and the EBC it cost you about 3300 rupees. So why I'm installing a 1500 brake pad on a KTM and 3300 rupees brake pad on Meteor 350? So I wanted to share this thing, and it's not a brand thing, it's more about the type of brake pads. EBC delivers an awesome braking, there is no doubt. But this is, and the feature of EBC is that even if you brake late, which is much required in racing world and everywhere, mostly everywhere, so you can squeeze more and more and more, and even if you squeeze harder, there is no problem. The main difference where organic, ceramic, and sintered is basically the temperature. So if you are riding on an organic brake pad, this brake pads will lose their braking power very easily if you're traveling longer distances, let's say if you're traveling 100 kilometers, yes, in the first 25 to maybe let's say 50 kilometers you will get a good feedback from the brake pads, but later on as the tire will heat, the brake pads will heat, I mean the brake this thing, the plate, when it gets heated, it will lose the braking abilities, so it gets faded out in a while. So once it is cooled down, you will get much better braking again. So this is where the organic, that's the problem. So if you are riding in the city where you do not have to travel a lot, right, where there is mostly traffic, so the brake pads, so the brake plate is not heated that much, you can definitely go with the organic brake pads at that point. Since I like the initial bite, the strong feedback of Vesrah, which aids me to sharp handling. I really like this thing. So I want this thing to happen on my KTM because this thing is an adventure motor, and I take this thing for longer distances as well. And why not EBC here? Well, EBC could perform much better, I do know that, but it's just that the confidence level of Vesrah for the initial bite which I get is just awesome for me, and I really like my own confidence. Yes, even though if it was EBC, there wasn't any problem, it would even perform better for longer drives. It's just that for the city and highway commutes, not so much big rides, not more than 1000 kilometers ride, Vesrah is more than enough, and the high temperature ability is very much there. So if I could see, they would have written no. Alright, they should have mentioned the temperature. So it's basically 1599. And and for the people who want to know KTM 390 Adventure X model number for Vesrah, it is SD 958. There you go. And so yes, this was the reason we are going with the Vesrah, because the temperature, it can easily handle good temperature, and even with good temperature it will not lose the braking abilities. And there is one more thing which will decide about the brake plates, and the third is the EBC, where EBC can go longer distances easily. You can do everything all day. Even if the brake pad is heated, it will provide the same level of feedback the time you cold started your bike. It's the same level of feedback every time. So even Vesrah would fail when it is compared to the EBC, basically ceramic versus synthered. Yes, definitely. Even this thing loses the ability at high temperature, but that is at a very high. It has rare possibility. That means it will lose, but about 20 to 25%, or maybe 30%. But the rest of the 70% you will always get the best initial bite, and that is guaranteed when compared to a very high-end brake pads which are already available on my Meteor, that is EBC. So what's the another thing, and how does all these brake pad affects your plates? So what happened, the organic brake pads are made up of powder, and since you're rubbing the powder on the brake pad, it doesn't really affect the brake plates because it's just powder, and that means it's an organic powder. It will only have dust, so if you clean your bike and maintain your bike, that's more than enough to maintain your brake plate. Then you have the ceramic. The ceramic is also made up of powder, and it is a very fine powder, and there are no metals in this thing. So even though it has no metals, it is just powder, the level of quality and the feedback is just amazing. So this will also not majorly damage your brake plate. It will also maintain the brake plate for longer time. whereas the EBC, that means the sintered brake pads, are basically made up of iron, metals, few of the metal compounds present there, and some of the powder and so on. So the compounds is a mixture of lot of things, but yes, it will take down your brake plates very easily, because it has the metals inside that, which may reduce the thickness of your brake plates gradually. But that is fine, because I am not riding this bike for longer distances and I'm using it very nicely. It's just that I love having EBC on this bike, because you can squeeze in the traffic and you get a very nice feedback overall, and you can even do some kind of cut through the traffic. It really helps when it is EBC. The brake pad that it comes with the Meteor 350 is the organic. Even for the KTM Adventure, it's the organic. They also have the options of sintered brake pads from the factory itself, but I would still prefer EBC if it is sintered, and I would still go with ceramic if it is I will still go with Vesrah if it is ceramic. So yeah, these were the things. Now coming to the point, I also wanted to discuss quickly. Yes. So in which wheels you should be including the brake pads. So I'm using all my brake pads, the organic brake pads, in the rear wheel and not in the front wheel. There has to be a reason for that, right? So all these good brake pads, the ceramic and the sintered, the main braking aim is to get the front wheel really nice in a relaxed and a comfortable way to stop the bike. The rear wheel is just to support the front wheel for much better locking, since they both are by brace and these are not the top notch calipers in the world. I would rather go with Nissan. Yamaha does provide Nissan, and Nissans are excellent when it comes to the caliper, but that is fine. Even this, and the both are by Brembo. But the calipers are completely different, but still they have a very decent amount of power, and the piston is really nice. So that is fine, but the rear wheel is just there to support the rear braking, just to support the front braking, which is the most of the braking which is happening there. For if I'm riding in the city, I'll be mostly using the rear brakes, which is fine, which is under control. But on the highways, if I'm touring on both any of the bikes, that will do 70% of the job. This will do 30% of the job. Even it is heated, it may provide 5 to 10%, which is enough for the front brakes to get the support, and that is what I really needed. So therefore the rear wheel brake pads are equipped with organic brake pads, and the front I always prefer a ceramic or an sintered brake pads. And yeah, as I said, the durability issues with the sintered is there, and also the cost of sintered is high, and yes, it will warn your disc plate in coming times. There you go, ceramic is the perfect thing. But if you are that kind of a guy who really needs the rear braking ability, that would really want some kind of good rear ability, even though if you do have a very nice front brake pads, so you can go with the semi part. Now what is a semi of anything? That means partially. So you can have a semi-sintered. That means it is not 100% sintered. It will have some of the ceramic material included in a sintered brake pad. Now you have the semi-sintered, then you can, or else if you want a cheaper version of something like that, you can go with semi-ceramic. So a semi-ceramic will have most of the parts with the ceramic material, but will also include some of the components from organic brake pads, and there is no semi-organic. That is the last one. You can use organic, that is fine. So for the rear wheel, if you want, you can go with any of the options, that is semi ceramic or semi-sintered. And if you're someone like me just wanted to support the front wheel, you can go with organic. These are much cheaper. Usually I get the brake pads for Royal Enfield just for like 270 rupees, and for the brake pads here on the rear for KTM is like less than 300 rupees. So that is fine, and they does a really nice job. And but there is a big thing, and I really wanted to discuss that part. And not both of the bike has that thing which my R15 V3 used to have, that is the tires. So even though if you have a sintered or a ceramic brake pads, the main aim is to stop the tires and also the engine. To stop the engine, you should be using engine braking. That is much better if you know how to do engine braking. But to stop the front tire or to get a nice maneuverability over your handling, so the one of the main thing is the tires, the construction of the tires. Now this is a Seat. Now the Seat, it's called the Zoom XL, I believe, and this is the Apollo Trampler, and both of the tires are really nice tires, and that is a polyester front, back is the nylon. These are steel radial tires. But I have been riding the R15 with the Michelin Road 5, and those tires are just amazing. I know them, been using them since last 5 years, so I love those tires. And what really happens when your tire is constructed in a heavy way, that means it is not a lightweight construction. That means to stop those tires, you need more braking. And if you do a lot of braking, yes, the brake pads will warn very fast. The display may be affected. It will affect, yes. So all that thing happens just because you do not have a lightweight constructed tire. So a tire plays major role. If your tire is meant to do a better grip, that means if you check any of the tires on any of the websites, tiredeco.com or any of the websites, they would always provide excellent braking. They would always give a category of braking in a tire. So that there is no reason, right, to have braking with the tire. So always they provide. Even if you go and look out for Bridgestone S240, S290 tires, these are car tires, and the construction of the tire by Bridgestone is just amazing. They have lightweight tires, and they do provide excellent grip for wet, and they have excellent braking. You can search that on Google and you will find excellent braking. So this is how a lightweight tire will increase the braking system, because the tire is made lighter, which will support maneuverability. That means a better handling compared to the competitors, and also a much better excellent braking. And also if you have the proper cuts on the tires, that means it will evacuate the water easily. That means it's a very nice wet grip tire as well. So it's just not the braking system that will help the bike to easily break down, but it's basically the tires which you need a much better tire to perform excellent braking. I hope this information was very easy, and if you want to know a lot more about braking or the tires, you can just write down in the comment. I'll be happy to answer all your doubts. Thank you so much. Peace. See you in the next one.